Hello, you motorcycle enthusiasts. Today, we're going to take apart the carburetor of the Suzuki Bandit 600 together. The model is called the GSF600, or its internal model designation is GN77B. The one we have here is from 1997. As always, I'll be disassembling one of the 4 carburetors. The other 3 are identical, so you can handle those on your own. Before we get started, I'll show you what tools you'll need. We'll need a Phillips screwdriver in size PH2. We'll need various flathead screwdrivers in different sizes. A small needle nose pliers is very helpful, as well as a slim punch, a small sturdy flashlight, and a combination wrench in 12 and 8 mm, plus a little homemade tool, which is a hook with a small handle. It's bent from the wire of a paperclip. One more important note, please make sure to take a quick look at the video description. If I forget to mention something or if any new information about your carburetor comes up later, I can add it there. You'll also find in the video description an email address for a professional to whom you can send your carburetor for ultrasonic cleaning. People also often ask, does the carburetor guy actually make money from this? That's the cool part. If you buy the repair kits using the affiliate links in a video description, you support our channel's maintenance and growth. Plus, you get a shop with fast delivery and fantastic reviews. I'll start disassembling right away. But first, the choke piston will be removed. What I recommend before you start, take photos all around. It's pretty simple here. Here, there's only the holder for the choke piston. But if you've taken photos from all sides, then when you're reassembling, you can check back to see how it was before. Alright, so the choke slide needs to come off. That's this one here. The shared actuator for the choke piston. There are 1, 2, 3 screws here. It's often the case with 4-cylinder carburetors that, even though there could actually be a screw here, it's not actually built that way. Alright. I'm going to loosen these 3 screws now and take them out completely. And I'll show you using this one screw as an example. Behind the screw, there's a plastic washer here. And it's the same thing again behind the choke piston. I'll show you that in a second, too. You can, for example, use needle nose pliers to carefully lift this plastic washer here. Carefully lift it off here. And as I said, I'm now going to loosen the other screws as well and already slide the plastic washers down here. The screws are removed, and now you can carefully lift the choke piston forward off the mounting and at the same time remove it upward from the choke pistons. And what I mentioned, you can see here. Right here, behind where the screw was, there's also a plastic washer. You need to take those off as well. Let's continue with the float. It's secured with these 1, 2, 3, 4 Phillips screws. They still look pretty decent. What should I do if the Phillips head is already completely stripped here? For that, you'll now see a video with a suggested solution displayed at the top, and in the meantime, I'll unscrew these 4 screws. So first, of course, I loosen them, and then I completely remove all of them. Alright, the screws are out. Now we can carefully lift off the cover. This is what it looks like. It definitely needs a new gasket. If you look at it from this angle, you can clearly see that it doesn't really stick out anymore. So it's definitely time for a new part. And now I can remove the float here. For that, we need the slim drift pin. The float is mounted here on a small axle. Basically, it's a pin. I've now pushed it out to the side here with my pin punch. This is what it looks like. I'll set it aside now, and then I can hold the float here, remove my tool, and the float can be lifted off. And attached to the float, on this little tab, you can see it dangling here, is the float needle valve. And if we could please get a top-down view here, you can simply slide it forward and down. and then it just falls off. In the next step, we can remove the jets here. Here you can see the jet holder with the main jet. Now you need the 8mm open-end ring spanner, and you can either, depending on how you want to do it, remove the main jet here beforehand or just leave it in the jet holder for cleaning. There isn't a second one of the same size here, so you can also unscrew it here. Very important with the carburetor, the 600 model, please pay attention to this. We'll try to capture this here now. Yeah, I already set it up correctly. The jet size is written on the edge there. Wonderful. So, the carburetor has a 98 main jet on the outer carburetors, and for the two, so here on the outside it's a 98, and on the inside it's a 100 main jet. The reason for this is simple. The inner cylinders get a bit less cooling, and this lack of cooling is compensated by a larger main jet, which increases internal cooling through a bit more evaporated fuel. So please pay attention to this when disassembling. So here I have the jet holder and the main jet itself. And now, in this recess here, we have the idle jet. Please use a screwdriver that fits well. Please don't use one that's too small. If it's too small, you might damage the idle jet, and then, oh, here, it even got stuck. Fantastic. It becomes very, very difficult to remove if the slot is basically destroyed. This is the idle jet, and now I'm going to turn the carburetor over, because underneath the jet holder there's still the atomizer. There we go, it just fell out. That's it. So that's basically the head of the jet holder. I'll lay it out here for you the way it's installed. So that's how it sits in this channel, and when you put it back together, you'll also get the assembly video, but I'll tell you now, it has an open and a closed side. You can see it perfectly. The open side goes up toward the part load needle. In the last step on this side of the carburetor, you can see the idle mixture screw here in this recess. Of course, before you unscrew it, you can first carefully screw it in and count how many turns it was screwed out to see if it has already been adjusted before. However, I personally prefer to start with the factory recommended basic setting when reassembling after cleaning. I'll include this basic setting for both the idle mixture screw and the float level in the video description for you. And now let's see if it slips out here. Okay, and we're in luck. We don't need our little homemade tool this time, because all the parts have stayed on the idle mixture screw. I'll show you each part separately. Can you see that? I'll take it off now. This is the correct assembly order. The screw itself, a spring, a washer, and an O-ring. If only the screw comes out, you can use the little hook, here it is, to very carefully fish out the spring, and then the washer and the O-ring, just like in a fishing game. Now we're going to remove the cover up here from the vacuum chamber. There are, once again, 1, 2, 3, 4 Phillips head screws. I'm going to loosen them and unscrew them completely. As you can see, I'm on the last screw here and I'm holding the cover in place with one finger because I know there's a spring underneath. And I don't want everything to go flying all over the place, so I'm holding it here, and once the 4 screws are out, I carefully lift it straight up. There you can see the small spring. Well, it's not that small, but you could just take it out now. This holder, this little plastic frame, keeps the slide needle in position. Sometimes it stays in place during disassembly, then it's still sitting here in the slide. Now you can grab the slide. I reach in from the back here, from the side, and lift it up so I don't have to pull on the diaphragm. You can already check the diaphragm, make sure it fits in here properly. If it's shrunk a bit, I'll link a video for you up top showing what you can do. So, take out the slide, hold the diaphragm up to the light, and check for damage or holes. And down here sits the part load needle, which you can just carefully let fall out. Yeah, and then we have here. The top side is also disassembled, and now we're moving on to the chuck. Alright friends, the choke piston is located here on the side and is screwed in here. And if you take a closer look here, I always have the problem that I can't really reach it very well. You might say, he picked the best spot for himself here. You could also use a small socket from the outside here. But you'll need to get a little creative here. You can manage it here too, if you just use a socket and slide it on, then turn it with pliers. Or you can use a proper open-end wrench and just be careful when positioning it here. Sorry, I need to do this here. Alright, okay. Be a bit creative when positioning it so you can catch the edge here. And as you can see, it's turning. Most of the time, it's not even that tightly fastened. It's just plastic, after all. And then you can move it pretty well with your finger or, hang on, let me check, with needle nose pliers here. This takes a little moment here. But it's important that you disassemble the pistons for a proper cleaning. With this carburetor, you can also disassemble all of them, even if the carburetor bank stays together as a whole. There are some where you'd have to remove the entire carburetor bank because there's just not enough space. But here, there's enough room. This is what the choke piston looks like. And with that, we're done with the disassembly. As I mentioned at the beginning, the other three carburetors are. They're built the same way, so you can handle that on your own. I hope this video helped you and that you enjoyed it. I'd appreciate a thumbs up and, of course, a subscription from you. Feel free to leave a comment if you have any questions. No problem at all. Just write them in the comments. I wish you lots of fun with your project. Good luck, and see you in the next video.